Alright, so today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be talking about how to make good habits stick and just habits in general. A lot of the information I'm going to be talking about I got from this book called Atomic Habits. I read it already. A lot of good information in here, changed a lot of things in my perspective. But yeah, let's get straight into it. Step 1. The key to making a habit stick is to actually want it or be willing to push through the boredom of doing it. Understand is a lot of the times our habits can get so repetitive, going to the gym all the time, reading every day, or whatever it may be. It's going to get boring after a while. You have to be willing to push through that boredom in order to get over the other side, you know? Understand as people most of the time, if we don't want to do something, we're more than likely not to do it. So if you don't really want to go work out, or you don't even want to lose weight, you're more than likely not going to do it. Step 2, small adjustments are big. The problem is we do not focus on the system, we focus on the goal. And what this means is, imagine if your room is dirty. Your goal is to clean it, okay? You clean your room, your goal is complete. But the thing about it is, say if you still have the same bad system in place or the same bad habits in place. So when you come home, alright, maybe you might just throw all your stuff everywhere. You know, and that's not good. Just throw your dirty clothes everywhere, put your shoes wherever, just throw all your stuff everywhere, right? Okay, well, your room's gonna get dirty after a while because you don't have a system or you don't have a good habit in place. So you have to put a system in place. You know what? Every time I get home, let me just hang up my clothes, or let me put my clothes in the dirty clothes, or let me put my shoes where they go. Whatever it may be, just put a system in place. And that goes for most habits. If you put a system in place, you're more than likely to do good. But just understand that small adjustments can be big. Focusing on the system can make you achieve the goal. And that's what we all have to understand. Another thing when we associate ourselves with just habits or whatever, you gotta understand that a habit could be, maybe you're dirty and that's your identity. You're a dirty person. Your habit is you're dirty, your identity is you're a dirty person. Or maybe your habit is not talking to people, so you're antisocial. Whatever it may be, most of the time when we have a habit in place, it's associated with our identity. So like when someone comes up to you and they're like, oh, we'll go do this, or go talk to that person. And you're like, oh no, I'm shy, or I'm an introvert. That's you limiting yourself and putting something on your identity. And what we have to understand is do not put attachments on yourself as a person, because we do this a lot and we say I'm shy or I'm antisocial, and in reality you're not. In reality we're not born this way, and it's just the conditioning you did to yourself or other people did to you. Example, say if you say I'm shy, do this. For instance, go out and just talk to one stranger every day, and understand the more evidence that you have, like, oh, I can actually talk to people, the more that identity goes away. So your new identity is, oh, I can talk to people. Okay, so that's a habit, right? And the identity to that is, you know what, I'm extrovert. So it's like you have to understand that your habits and your identity are really like a puzzle piece. Your identity is one thing and your habits are one thing, and your habits shape your identity, and that's what we have to understand as people. Step 3, understand your habits can be connected to time and your environment. So what this means is your environment is a crucial part of keeping a habit. Each location develops a connection to a habit or to a certain routine. If you have bad habits in certain environments, it may be easier to build a new habit in new environments due to you not fighting against old temptations or old habits. Now what this means is, say if you want to read a book, but you go in your room and your habit is just to automatically turn the TV on, right? Alright, well, that's your bad habit. And if you automatically go in your room and you're trying to focus and then you just turn the TV on, you might get distracted and then you might start watching TV. So maybe it's better to go read somewhere else, maybe in the front room or wherever it may be. Read somewhere else where you don't have any habits there, you're not being distracted by anything, whatever it may be, Step 4. So step 4 is always make little progress than none. If you're falling off track with a habit, it is possible you are doing too much. It may be easier to do less. For example, instead of reading 10 pages, of a book each day, read 5. Not only will you feel like it is less of a chore, it will be easier for you to stay consistent with it. So I mean that's self-explanatory, you know. Just if you're feeling burnt out, maybe do a little bit less. I wouldn't say do none at all, and don't reduce it too much, in my opinion, though. But just stick to the good habit. If maybe you're working out an hour a day, and maybe today you just don't feel good, right? Or maybe today you, I don't know, maybe you feel sick or whatever it may be. Then, if it really is that bad, work out at least 30 minutes instead of an hour, because it's always better to do something than nothing, and that's what we have to understand. A lot of people are like, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. Like, I always say this to everybody, but tomorrow is never promised to us, and it's common knowledge, but we don't understand it, and we take it for granted, you know? Atomic Habits, it was saying that writing and planning what you're gonna do can as well as help you with your habits. Sometimes if you write something down, or you get a planner, or you put it in your notes, it might help you to actually do it, because you're thinking about it, and when you go put it down on the paper, right, you're like, in your conscious, you're like, okay, so I have to do this tomorrow, and then you actually go do it. So that can help too. It just depends who you are, you know. Everybody has their own ways of doing habits, or you know, whatever it may be. But just understand that a lot of the times when it comes to habits, you just have to be disciplined. You really have to just want it, and if you don't want it, then you're not gonna get it. You know, you have to be obsessed with something, and you really have to want to go get it. And that's just it's common knowledge, you know. But a lot of people overcomplicate everything in life, whatever it may be, habits, relationships, happiness, peace, whatever it may be. We overcomplicate things so much, but just understand when you have a habit and when you have a bad habit, you have to break that bad habit and you have to create a good habit, because you can't just be working out and then after your workout you just start eating junk food. Like, no, that's not how it goes. Understand that not only that, but it's going to take a while. Say if you want to lose weight, it's not going to just be in a week or a month. It's going to take a while for you to actually see progress. And what we have to understand is a lot of the time the progress that the work that we're doing, we have progress, but it's being stored for later, you know. And that's just something we have to understand. A lot of people aren't patient. You have to have patience as well. But yeah, I just thought I would share that with y'all. I appreciate y'all for tuning in, and I'll see y'all on the next one.